Hey guys, Richard here, Metal Fan, bring you guys a 2015 album review. And today we're going to be looking into the new album from Metal Blade Records. It's by the band The Black Dahlia Murder, entitled The Abysmal, which just comes out on Friday. Now, I've heard the album stream a few days ago. It was streaming on SoundCloud. And I was going to wait till Friday to get it, but I just couldn't resist. I was just like, fuck it, I can't take it anymore. I need to listen to it because I've heard so much good stuff. I mean, because I wouldn't be surprised because for me, this Black Dahlia Murder just never failed to release a bad album. I mean, they're just that good. And this album is the follow up to 2013's Ever Black. And what do I have to say about this album? I've listened. This album is a fucking beast. It's just a fucking beast. I mean, after listening to this album a few times, it just gets better and better. Same thing with every album. They just continue to get better. I mean, they're like fine wine. They just get better with age. I mean, just on Abysmal, I mean, the music and lyrics just stepped up like a lot more with this album. It's just wow, it's just insane. One thing to notice about this album is like Trevor Strnad's vocals. I mean, he sounds really great on this album. I mean, you could tell his high screams just sound just really great as always, but his lows like fuck, holy fuck. I mean, it's just really fucking crushing, and I really fucking love that. The guitar work on this album is pretty damn solid. But I mean, Brian Eschbach's riffs sound really great. He's pretty much knows how to come up with some great riffs on the play. And Ryan Knight's solos on this album is great. I mean, that dude can fucking tread. I mean, Max Lavelle's bass playing is pretty audible. The same thing with every other album, but with their other bass players. I mean, it's pretty well heard. You can on this album with the bass and the drum work. I mean, Alan Cassidy, my God. I mean, I'm also friends with him on Facebook. I mean, he did a pretty damn good job on this album as he did with the last album, Ever Black, which I don't think he really, I think he really just wrote, sort of followed the written parts from what I've heard. I mean, after Shannon Lucas left, me and Alan Cassidy sort of learned sort of like the stuff that I think he wrote after he left. And I mean, Alan Cassidy basically filled in those shoes perfectly. I mean, with this album, he just came up with some really great stuff, and I really loved that a lot with this album. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into this album. Now, the album opens up with a song called Receipt, which we could tell it sounds a little bit different. I mean, this album opens up with some violins, and then it just bursts in with some really great death metal. It's a really great way to open up this album. It's a great way to start it. I love that song a lot. Then we get to the next song, which is Vlad, Son of the Dragon, which is the first single that we heard off this album. It's a bit of a shorter song. It's one of my favorites on this album, and just some very good lyrics. I really love that a lot. Then we get to Abysmal, the title track of the album, which just goes right into it. It's just some great guitar harmonies in there, and it's just some very great vocals. I really love another one of my favorite songs. Love that a lot. Then we get to Refaced, which just the vocals just kicks right in, and with Trevor just kicks right in with the vocals, just punches you in the face. Love that a lot. Then we get to threat level number 3, which I mean honestly, my only thing was I wish I would have flipped tracked that to be song number 3, because threat level number 3, but I guess that'd be too simple. But just the song itself just has some very fast drumming. Love that a lot. Just like the rhythm section, rhythmically is good with the bass and drums. It's just really great. Then we get to The Fog, which is another favorite. Just some really great guitar work and the drums. I really love the riffs on that song in particular. It's really good. Then we get to a Stygophobic. I think if I'm saying that right. It's a very mid-paced song. It's very kind of feels very dreamlike. Like it just Then it just has some very heavy guitar work. I love that a lot. Then we get to Asylum, which is just fast and heavy. It's just a very relentless song. I really love the double bass. It's just like very sounds like a jackhammer. It's just wow. Then we get to The Advent, which is just brutal. What a just like with most of the songs on this album, it's just it also has a little bit of a groove to it. It just sounds pretty good. Then we get to the last song on the album, which is That Cannot Die, Which Eternally Is Dead, which ends the album. It sort of starts off with strings similar to the opening track, Receipt. I thought it's interesting how the first song and the last song starts off with little string violin stuff. It just goes right into it, just some really fast death metal. And it sort of ends with the guitars ringing out. And it's a pretty good way to end this album. Now, overall, what Abysmal by Black Dahlia Murder, really fucking killer album. I mean, as with every other album. Now, if I were to give this album a score, I'd probably give this like about a 9.5 out of 10. It's just really good. If you haven't listened to this album, go do it and pick this album up when it comes out on Friday. I highly recommend you get this album. So yeah, that's my review of the new Black Dahlia Murder, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Keep it metal.